All right, what's up everybody? Welcome to my channel and to this video. We got a good one for you. Today we're going to be installing a brand new Larson exterior storm door. I just picked it up from Lowe's and it fits in the back of the minivan. Love the minivan. We're going to get it installed from start to finish. I'm going to show you how to do it. Let's get started. Ooh, how lovely is this? We've got things packed relatively well. I don't see any broken glass, always a good sign. I'm just inspecting it here for blemishes, any damage. We'll get all these parts out, all the trim pieces, and we'll get everything just kind of like laid out for you. Everything is laid out. We've got our door. This is, by the way, a 36-inch wide by 80-inch tall door that we'll be installing today. And all the pieces, all the accessories, we've got the hinge mount and the latch mount, the extender and the drip piece, and then all the, of course, hardware here, including these hydraulic pump things that attach, and all the internal latching systems and whatnot, so, and screws, etc. So that's good. Let's go ahead and get started then. All right, now this storm door is already here, obviously the old one, so we're gonna have to remove this. I did measure everything and it looks like it's gonna line up pretty well per the instructions. There are nominal size recommendations on the opening that you need to have and the mounting surface that you need to have. So you wanna read the instruction manual really well and get that figured out. Things just got to go. Here's the mounting surface. I've got the hinge mount removed. We see our old screws. Do have some old adhesive / caulking that needs to be scraped off, or maybe I'll keep it on there depending on what that looks like, but this all needs to be cleaned up for the most part. It's pretty old stuff, and oh, cleanup's not too bad here. And then they used a brad nail gun to put that latch on pretty well, so those need to be pulled out or multi-tooled off. And this will be our mounting surface. We need 1 inch by 1 inch basically, so that looks pretty good. All right, our next step, we're ready to actually assemble the storm door. But first, I've got my helper. Let me see your shirt, bud. What's it say? I ask a lot of questions. I like it. So we're gonna need this in this bag right here, the bag A. There's a placeholder set screw, and then we need the actual hinge rail right here because, I mean, that's identifiable with the hinge. What we're gonna do is go over to our working surface and we're gonna position it on the corner like this, and we're gonna bring it all the way to the top, as far north as it'll go, okay? So it'll be off the ground just a little bit and it'll be pushed up against here. Make sure it's all tight against your corners, or your corners singular, okay? And then we're gonna mark with a pencil right there on the top screw hole. And that's where we're gonna put our set screw. So let me get a pencil and mark right there. All right, I've got my hole. Oh, it's not a hole yet. It's a little fish shaped with my mark. That's generally where we need it, right there. And because I'm drilling into aluminum, I'm gonna use a drill for the pilot hole. The idea is that you can basically put this on here like that. Now we're going to come out just a little bit more want a little more showing. There we go. Because the idea is that you could come along and just hang this thing and let it sit like that, kind of no hands operation. Next, we're gonna take this rubber piece, it's the sweep, and we're gonna insert it into this channel right here on the extender, or expander, I should say. There's only one place to put it, and so I'm gonna use a little bit of soapy water here to help aid the installation process. So we're gonna just slide it through like this. You don't want to tear it, but get kind of a tight grip and make sure it's straight, and then it just kind of pulls all the way up. There you go. And you are extending it as you pull, so before you trim it off, you want to make sure that it's settled back to its original size. So give it a couple minutes before we trim it off here at the end. Then we'll take a needle nose pliers and just pinch down that sweep and the channel, give it a good crunch. All right, interior door is facing up and the top of the door is up there. This is the bottom of the door. We're gonna take this piece here with the holes and we're gonna slide this on like that. We're not gonna tighten anything down. We're gonna just slide it over right here. And to do that, there's a little lip on this piece. Can you see that? We're gonna put it underneath and it should attach right there. And then this piece will slide onto it, just like that. Okay, so this is the expander. We'll tighten this down once we've determined the approximate height or the length of the door opening. So, all right, for the next stage of this, we are going to take the hinge rail here, and let me explain it first. So we've got the top of the door right here, and then the interior part of the door is facing upward. And on this side, this will be the hinge side. There's a little hole right there. Can you see that? We're going to align this hinge right here with that hole. Okay, so it'll kind of look like this. So it'll be this hinge hole right there, aligned with that little pin right here. Can you see that? So it'll be kind of like this. And we're gonna be using one of these screws from bag B, just one of those. And the next step, we're gonna need this mortise cover, it's called, and then 2 set screws, and that's gonna go right here. And because I'm one person here, I'm gonna basically build up a little platform for this side of the hinge rail to rest on while I screw that in. And it takes a minute for it to chew through that metal right there, and wear some eye protection too. Next, we're gonna start with this side, which is the bottom part of the door, and we're gonna put screw here, screw here, screw here, screw here, work our way upward, screw here, and then finish it off with that one. And a couple other tips, make sure you have a long bit here because you don't want it scratching this part. You want enough clearance. Also make sure all the hinges are not falling down before you start to put those on. That might be a problem for you. You want to make sure they are more or less in this position, not falling downward here. And then the third tip is make sure, can you see how the hinge goes underneath this lip right here? I found that some of them were coming on top of the lip, that one in particular, so I had to bounce it. That one actually is a little bit, still should be good, but something to pay attention to. We want it nice and flush inside that little groove. Okay, so it opens and closes nicely like that. Next, we'll put in this little piece right here. There's a set screw hole here. We'll secure it, and there's 2 screws that were provided. And then we'll put the other one right here and actually drill through. There's no pre-drilled hole on this side. All right, the next step, we're gonna take these 2 pieces. One of them is marked L. We're gonna be using this one. This is the extender for the hinge rail. You might need this one if you're installing a right swinging, but I'm doing left. So instructions call for the left one right here. And so there's a cylinder part, the middle part like this, goes into this cylinder tube. And then this will go down. And underneath here, it'll go, so basically the plastic part goes on the outside of this. Okay, kind of wiggle it on like that. Okay, so it does slide back and forth. Next, we're gonna pick up this whole thing and actually bring it out to the front door, and we will be attaching the, if you remember that screw that we set earlier on the door frame, we'll be attaching it right here, and this thing can basically hang. It's not gonna be secure, but it can hang, and then we can proceed with installation. Hello. Just doing my thing. All right. Actually, we're gonna put it this way, doy. Come on, there we go. Okay, it's on. See that? All right, that's good. So we'll tighten this baby up. Okay. And then we'll take another bag C screw, bag C, and we're gonna go second to from the bottom. Okay, good. Okay, so that is nice and secure. And then we'll take the bottom extender, push it all the way, slide it all the way down. All right, I've got all of those on there. Let's close the door now and see how it looks. Okay, not too bad. Next, we'll come to the outside and using the same screws within bag C, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 holes. And we're gonna wanna have somebody come on the inside and just basically push the hinge mount this way as you drill in. You just want this to be completely set and not leaning this way at all. It shouldn't be, but that is the idea. So let's do that. We got all 5 in, nice and secure. Next, we're gonna take this top piece and we're gonna open the door and put it, just align it kind of like this. And we'll be attaching it through with the 3 holes. But before we do, we need to make sure that the door actually closes. Let me move my stool out of the way down here. I want to make sure that that closes all the way consistently across. And I think it does. Yeah. And then the next thing we're going to do is just make sure it is aligned on this side right here. with the edge of the, right there, I think, with the edge of the hinge mount. And then we'll secure with this screw hole first. All right, and if you're doing this by yourself, it helps to stand on a stool and then put the stool as close to the door as you can because you don't want it popping open when you do these screws. I got 1 in, 2 in. That way you can control and kind of see how much gap there is on the top. If the door is open and you do it, you won't be able to see how much gap there is. And you want that to be as close as possible or consistent as possible. All right, we got those in. Next, we're gonna be taking this latch mount here. We'll take this extender part marked R and we're gonna put it on like this. There we go. Okay. Make sure there's no grass pieces. And we're good. All right, and then we'll come over here and we'll put this right there. If it's too tall, you just push down and get that extender shrunk. And then we'll push this all the way up and screw it in here, 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 and here. There's 5 different screw holes. Okay, got all 5 of them in, and they are not over tight, but nice and tight. And I'm running out of daylight. We'll start this again tomorrow. Next, we'll take some weather stripping. This is a little extra. Cut it down to size. Use a tape measure. And we will place it right in there to complete that line. There we go. The same for this side. Here's what the strip looks like. Just cut it down and pop it on. Next, we're going to prep this piece. We can loosen this screw right here and this screw right here just a little bit, and then this little plate here will start to wiggle. We're going to push this piece in and it actually rotates. Just kind of flip it around like that. There we go. Push that through, and then we'll tighten up those 2 screws. And now it's going to be facing the correct way, which will kind of be like this on a leftward swinging door. Before we secure that though into place, we need to actually drill out the hole. So to do that, we're going to take this piece right here. It says exterior. So we're going to put it this way. And let's see that little notch right there? This one. And then this hole, pilot hole right here. We're going to align the notch, this, with this arrow. And with that aligned, it'll snap into place. With that aligned, this pilot hole is perfectly aligned right here. So what we're going to do is drill out where it says drill facing the U. In other words, it's not upside down. Drill, 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 and drill. We'll do the same thing on this side too. Drill, 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 and drill. To do this, we're going to use a pilot hole, a very small pilot hole, and then we'll take the plate off, or the template off, and then finish it up with this. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4 on the inside, 1, 2, 3, and 4 on the outside. All right, we'll remove this, and then we'll come up here with this big guy and go ahead and drill that out. Okay, that just popped out just like that. All right, we got all of them drilled out here. What do you think? pretty good, huh? Yeah, baby. These are little chunks that they spit out, and you'll probably lose some inside the door frame, so you might want to put like a magnetic stud finder right here, so as it pops out, just don't drop that down there. It'll collect it and stick to it. All right, next we'll take this lock piece. We're gonna slide it in up a little high and then drop it down. You'll see right there, there's a little clip. And you'll put your finger on the deadbolt and then drop it into place. Next we'll take this deadbolt piece, and we're gonna also be doing this, working with this one. We'll put the deadbolt piece through here, and you can see the deadbolt will align a little. I might need to turn it just a little bit so it fits through, and then those screws should fit just loosely through here. I'm gonna put the camera down, come at this with 2 hands. Okay, and so that's sticking through the exterior side, and then we've got a screw and a screw just resting, and then we'll take this piece next and put it on over that. That looks good. You can even put the key in just to test it, but when you, this is very loosely connected, by the way. We're not going to tighten it yet, but you can see it is working. Next, we're going to take the handle pieces. This little set screw on the bottom needs to be loosened up just a little bit. That will be the interior screw like this, or the interior handle, fit like this. And then this one with the longer stem will go through here and attach like that. So I'll go ahead and just do this right now. 2 hands to make sure it doesn't pop out. And then we'll set the screw underneath or on the side to secure that into place. Yeah, okay, that looks pretty tight and good. And you can see we have a fully functioning handle. And now we'll go ahead and tighten these screws all the way up. Okay, and obviously from the outside you want to make sure that that is not crooked and everything is tight. Don't over tighten it either. And now we should have a door here that more or less works. Ooh, look at that. Wow. Okay. There's a strike plate here that we can attach just like that. Yeah, there we go, we're nice and tight. Just make sure that bigger step space here is at the bottom and this one's at the top so that it latches. And next we'll take the expander. Remember we put this on earlier. There's a gap because it's all the way up on the door itself. We just need to take our fingernails here and slide it all the way down to decrease that gap so bugs and stuff don't walk through. There we go. That sweep is all the way touching the ground. And then we're going to set the screws. There's 2 provided, just like that. And they drill into the actual door itself. Next, we're going to install this trim piece to cover up these screws. To do that, you want to make sure that it's oriented correctly. First, let's start with the long piece. We'll slide it all the way to the top. And then let me show you real quick how to do this. You can see the long, there's like a long stem on this side, and then a real short, narrow gap on this side. Okay, so we're gonna orient it like that. And we're gonna start from the outside. Let me show you. We're gonna turn it just a little bit this way. And you'll feel it bite into the ridge. And then we'll push it on the inside and snap it. Kind of push it downward on the inside. You hear that snap? Okay, so first align this line and then push the inside in. You'll feel it bite. And you'll just work your finger all the way down like that. See how nice and tight that is? Go all the way to the bottom. Trim that off. Okay, that looks pretty good, I think. Let's do the same thing on the top and then this side. Next, let's remove this little plastic piece, and your screen now should be fully functional. Look at that. I love this door. This is so cool. All right, now we're gonna do the closer. First, we need one of these, and we're gonna install it like this. It has storm door with an arrow, which means it's gonna sit like this. And I've already done my markings here, but we want the bracket to be 1/4 of an inch from the back of this mount to the edge. And we want to make sure that it is level because we're gonna do the top one first. The other bracket should be right here, and the actual bar, the cylinder, should be nice and level. So I've already done my markings here and confirmed that that's true. So we're gonna put 4 long screws right here and secure this very firmly to this wall. All right, with that secure, we're gonna take this piece now. This is the top closer. Looks like this. It's got that long yellow spacer. We're gonna pop off the long yellow spacer. We will need that in a second. We're gonna use the short pin here. We're gonna attach this to here using the short pin. I'll actually remove this little O-ring, drop the pin through, and then put the O-ring back on because the O-ring won't jam through as it is. And then we want this side pointed down so you can see that. You won't be able to see it if it's up here, so just make sure it's pointed that way. We'll take this bracket, the door bracket, and the long pin with the O-ring and connect it here. Then we're gonna have to close the door to do this because we don't want it to be compressed while the door is open. We want it to be extended while the door is open. So we'll get in here and close the door. All right, I'm on the inside. The door is closed, so the closer is actually compressed. And then we're gonna put 2 marks there. I don't think it really matters too much. You could, in theory, adjust it, but we're gonna put on the second from the left there on both of those, and then get this drilled out and secured. And we'll pop that yellow spacer off if it's not already, and then just test it to make sure that it does close and it's doing its job. Now we do need to do the bottom closer, which is what's next. And the bottom closer does go on the same way as the top one. There's 4 long screws that are provided, and you mark it out, measure it 1/4 of an inch or so from that hinge mount, and pre-drill. That's what I'm doing because I'm going into aluminum, like I said earlier. And we'll get these things nice and tight because most of the door's force will be coming here, so you don't want to underestimate this part. Make sure you use long screws and they're nice and secured into wood. Then we align the cylinder with the bracket installed on the other end and make sure that is parallel, obviously, to your door lines, and go ahead and secure that down. 2 of them like we did before with the set screws, and it takes a little bit, but it bites and secures strongly to the metal. We'll get things cleaned up here and we'll test it out real quick just to make sure everything closes. You can adjust the tension by turning the little plus and minus knobs on the end of each closer cylinder, and that'll give you a little bit more control if it closes harder or softer. But I like it just the way it is. It pauses just a little bit and still has a strong close. At the end, here is the locking feature on the actual screen. If you're interested, it slides up and then it turns like this to lock. Now let's see what my wife thinks when she comes home from work.
Oh, nice.
Well, hold on. You got to wait for it to close. You want to close it? Oh, it didn't hit you.
Very good.
So overall, this was an easy job. I recommend 2 people instead of 1, but this is a great upgrade, an easy DIY job to make your space in your home a little bit better. We got rid of the old one, got the new one on here. So here's some final shots for you, and I appreciate you being with me today. Feel free to leave questions or comments if I missed anything, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with somebody that you know. See you in the next video, and I'm not sure what I'm gonna do, but I'm sure I'll find something. Cheers.